In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What is an eponym? A person after whom a discovery, invention, or place is named or thought to be named. There are very few eponyms in the hunting industry. A product so popular and so functional, it becomes the act of the product. So how does something become an eponym? It's the best.
Tonight's episode is brought to you by Tagged and Bagged. They specialize in pre-taxidermy packaging for waterfowl. Their mission is to provide hunters with the highest quality packaging products to ensure preservation of a hunter's prized trophy. Tagged and Bagged products are made with the best materials and are designed to withstand the toughest hunting conditions. TaggedandBagged.net. And also by Bucket Ready. Offers premium food plot seed for the best results when attracting wildlife to your property. Knowing what deer prefer, when they prefer it, and putting the best seed together for deer in your special hunting spot is what Bucket Ready Performance Food Plot Seed Mixtures is all about. BucketReady.com. And now, coming live from the Midwest Racks and Rod studio, it's the Outdoors Show. With your host, a man who believes you should make venison sticks and not war, Scott Biskobing. With your producer, Lou PBR him ASAP Portman. With co-host, Drew, he's not fat, he is pleasantly plump, Biskobing. And of course, the one you've all been waiting for, Dan, the hunting beast, Infalt.
You all right there, Sicky?
Ship shape. Ship shape. Dan, what do you say, bud? Welcome to the show.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Midwest Racks and Rods Outdoor Show. Like you just heard from my esteemed colleague, my brother over there, I am your host, Scott Biskobing. And
I don't know if I'm esteemed as I am just steamed.
Sometimes just steamed.
Just steamed.
I mean, you tend to get a little steamed from time to time.
Yes.
Just S. But yeah, we're excited. We got a new episode for you guys tonight, and we apologize. You know, things have been crazy as usual here. We had to reschedule. We had a guest lined up for last week, and we needed to get that one rescheduled. Kind of a last minute change, but we're going to be bringing them on here in a couple of weeks here. We got another great guest coming on that next week as well, but we'll just kind of keep that under wraps till it gets a little bit
keeping it under wraps.
And that is in studio. It's somebody
close
that you
to
guys,
chest.
Somebody you guys have seen before, so that'll be kind of fun to have him in studio.
It'll definitely be a good time.
Oh yeah. I'll just say Briar Horses, and
if you've seen it, you should know.
If you know, you know, right? But so as some of you guys know, who've been following Midwest, you've also been seeing that I've been also hosting another show, a much more popular show than this one.
No,
yeah,
I refuse to believe that.
It's the Hunting Beast Report, and I've been doing that on Tuesday nights with Mr. Dan Infalt, who is our guest tonight. But little about Dan, if you guys don't know, and if you don't, then I don't know why you're watching this in the first place. But if you look at your screen right there, that's a recent photo of Dan's trophy wall there at Trudell Taxidermy. I mean, the guy doesn't even have enough room in his own house. He has to have a special museum and a taxidermy shot. But I don't think he needs much more of an introduction. He's on every podcast. He's doing everything. He's everywhere all the time. when he's not in the swamp or climbing a hill.
That's right.
Let's bring him on, Mr. Dan Infalt.
Welcome, Dan.
What's
How
up,
you doing,
buddy?
sir?
How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm alive.
So Dan is nice enough to hop on the show here and grace our screen after he just got done doing another podcast earlier this evening on bear hunting.
Probably not as good of a show as this is, though.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is kind of the half-ass show.
It is definitely the half-ass show, and we're proud of it.
Right. We are proud of our shit show that we have going on here. And to be honest, Dan, you and I, we've talked about this previously. I kind of joined forces with you. I think we kind of connected back in February, March area. And when you approached me and kind of reached out and said that, you were interested in having me host your show, I said, what is everybody else busy? Is everybody else just completely locked in? Like, did you finally just like, all right, well, let's just see if Scott's available because everybody else has got something else going
Well,
on.
initially I turned him down.
Oh,
so,
you did?
yeah,
Oh,
right.
okay.
Everybody quit paying me. I mean, to be the host. So I had to start settling for free or
Yeah, exactly. And here I am.
But hopefully you're enjoying the ride, running you all over the country. And
Yeah, I am. I have been enjoying the ride. It's been a lot of fun. In fact, some of you guys have seen the post that were out there the other week, but Dan and I just got back from Westminster, Massachusetts at Huntstock.
Huntstock. Make venison sticks, not war.
Right.
Yes.
Well, we'll mention that to Pat and Pat to see if they want to.
We'll see if
they
they're
want to
down for
hashtag that or something. But yeah, in fact, that's Pat and Pat there with us on the picture on the right there with Uncle Lou. You guys all know him. And then we got Pat Burns, Dan, Pat Guyette, and then that bald-headed freak over there on the right.
Next to a skinny Nick Faber.
He does look a little bit like a skinny Nick Faber, doesn't he? But anyways, we had a great time out there. There's a shot of the legend Barry Wenzel. And then we got Dan over there on the right with Lanny Benoit and Rick Labby, two huge Northeast legends out there. I mean, they're legends all the way around, but
Right.
That's where, if you guys aren't familiar with them, they're very, very well known up in the Northeast. These guys are trackers. Really different style of hunting, but Dan and I, in fact, just had Rick on his show on Tuesday night. So if you haven't checked that out, fantastic episode. I've actually been getting a lot of text messages from people and being like, man, that actually might have been one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
I think maybe just because it's a different style and Rick's a really good storyteller. Would you agree, Dan?
yeah, Rick is a great storyteller and he's a solid killer.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people haven't heard from him, so they're surprised. You know what I mean? They probably just thought it was going to be another guy. I mean, he's really well known in the East, but most of your hardcore guys out here know who he is.
Right.
So your average guy was like, "Who is this guy?" And then when they see what he's done, I his wall is incredible. You put that up when we were talking to him. But the deer he has shot, I mean, even talking about last year when he went out and went to Saskatchewan and shot a deer the first day hunting, and his wife has him arrange his tickets, has him flown to Nebraska, where he shoots a 200-inch buck in Nebraska, and then
Jeez.
flies home and shoots another buck all in a week.
Right. Yeah. You need a handler like that, and I'm not volunteering.
I brought it up to my wife, and she said, "I am not your secretary."
If you can go back to a couple of those pictures there from Huntstock. In fact, there's the picture of us at the airport there. I kind of was your airport handler, though.
I was lost at the airport. I was totally lost. You can see it in my eyes there. You see?
Well, yeah. Well, I think we were both a little. We were sleepy.
I don't do good, and that's my pitfall. You could drop me in a woods blindfolded anywhere, and I'll tell you what state I am by the smell of the air. But you put me in an airport or you put me in a city, and I am lost.
I mean, honestly, it was comical. To be completely blunt, I think especially on the way back home, because I mean, we went out scouting on this. This was like now on Monday. We came home early Tuesday,
Right.
and so it's Monday night, and we had spent the day out scouting some property with Pat Burns, and it's like 90
It was.
some.
No, I thought it was a nice, cool day.
No,
out
it
there.
was like 90 some degrees, and Dan's having me film some stuff and that, and I'm sitting there trying not to shake the cameras. I'm getting swarmed by mosquitoes. I even said at the one point, I'm like, if we're gonna do this again, if we're gonna stop, I'm like, I need some mosquito spray on here, because I'm just like,
getting eaten.
they're swatting them away
Right.
and that, and they're not getting eaten up like I am. I don't know what it is about my blood type, but man, they just absolutely tear me up. But anyways, so we get to take a shower at least, thank God.
For everybody on the plane's sake, yes.
Right. So Pat takes us back to his their RV and that, and hooks the water back up, and we were able to take a shower. But going through the airport at night, Dan, I think you were still wearing your sweaty beast hat, and I mean, I actually should have pulled up some of those pictures, because when you ran into Guy Fieri in the airport, or a cardboard cutout of him, anyways. I got
As long as you don't carry out a conversation with them, you're fine.
But I got my backpack with the laptop and stuff, and I'm dressed pretty normal airport attire, I feel like, in that. And Dan's got steel toe cowboy boots on,
God.
and that, which doesn't translate well with TSA. I'll tell you
Not
that
so
much.
much, no.
Like every time he's got to take his boots off and that, and have him put them in a thing and shove them down the conveyor and that. And I mean, we were pretty beaten tired. Dan's looking like the hunting beast. He's all nice and clean shaven now, but he was pretty burly going out there. And I think I said something to you. I'm like, I think they think that I'm like your drug rehab guy. And I'm just escorting you to a facility or something like that, or I don't know. Dan was way out of his element there. I mean, I'm that's not my cup of tea.
Well, and
either,
it's not like you had a direct flight either. You had
oh my God, we had to go to New Jersey on
Right.
the way freaking home, and that was
take a puddle jumper all the way home as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Not a good time.
I mean,
It's
all
bad
in all,
enough being in an airport, and then you got to make sure you get to this gate on time. And, I mean,
and I hadn't flown in quite a while, and neither had Dan. I mean, I get it. Like, some of these people, they know what they're doing, and they're on a mission, and they fly like constantly.
like my wife.
And TSA expects everybody to be like that,
yeah.
and you're just kind of like being super polite and that, so they don't like tear you a new asshole.
Literally. Right.
We had in New Jersey, that lady in New Jersey, she was.
Well, I thought you were referring to a strip search, but yeah, okay.
No, actually, I got that at Mitchell. Not a strip search, but the whole, very intrusive. Like, I'm going to be rubbing in all these areas here, and
I
that.
wish that you wouldn't.
I'm like, man,
He kept saying there might be something in my front pocket later.
I said nothing of the sort. I was like, really, already at Mitchell? But
Right.
anyways, we're way off topic. But anyways,
Of course we are.
Huntstock was great. Dan did some seminars and that. We did these Q&A sessions. The crowd was fantastic. Dan has a much bigger following out there than he thought he did.
Yeah.
There's just an incredible amount of people coming to the booth and wanting to chat with Dan, get his autograph, and just show pictures of their deer and pick his brain. And I mean, I don't think the guy sat down any day.
Just
Dan, did you sit down? I don't think you sat down. I think you just stood there
No,
and
it was
talked.
nonstop. It was nonstop. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
that's a good thing, though. I mean, that it had to be a good experience, right? That was the first hunt stock for Dan, right?
Right. Yeah.
And obviously for yourself. And from what I understand, they the handlers that they have there, the organizers rather, that they really took good care of you guys.
Yeah, they did. They really did. And everybody, I mean, honestly, were extremely nice. it's the East Coast, right?
Right.
And that.
They have a
But
reputation.
these people are, salt of the earth. They're in this community, in the hunting community. They're like-minded people.
Right.
There. Now they also said, they warned us, stay out of the city and that, because then you're going to run into all the mass holes.
Right. So this was
they call them-
Western Mass, right?
Well, not quite, but I mean,
Okay.
we were a couple hours west of Boston, far enough away.
Gotcha.
And we were getting people from New Hampshire and all the surrounding states and that, because everything's so close.
Oh, sure.
I mean,
Right.
New Hampshire was like a 15-minute drive away from where we were at.
Yeah,
So, we were talking to people, all really hard Boston accents to people that had like almost no accent at all.
Right. You don't know if they're looking for their car keys or their khakis,
Right.
Did you lose your pants or your
khakis?
From Boston.
From Boston.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things you always hear about Midwest nice, and I think we take a lot of pride in the fact that we are pretty nice to our neighbors and people that are coming to visit. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of other places across the country that definitely don't carry that same reputation. But it's really neat to hear that you guys had such a good experience, that there were a lot of people that were already fans of you, Dan, and it had to be nice of course, for you to be there and have people to know you and talk to you and stuff like that, but it had to be a real thrill for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time I've been out to the east side of the country, so the people that do like me out there never got a chance to actually meet me. Where here, I'm pretty readily available. I go do a lot of.
Yeah, you definitely. You make yourself extremely available in that. I mean, like you said, that you're doing your second show here tonight alone in that, and what you do with all the other, you just came back from Michigan last weekend doing Ohio. You were in Ohio doing the mobile.
Yeah.
Our producer's giving a thumbs down. He lived in Ohio for a while.
Had some unsavory experiences. Let's just leave it at that.
Hey, I like hunting in Ohio. I think there's some good hunting in Southeast Ohio there. But anyways, so Huntstock's coming to Wisconsin next year in July.
Breaking news.
Right. Well, on here, but it's out there, which is really exciting stuff. So we're excited to be doing that next year.
Absolutely.
And it's just a hop, skip, and a jump. It's not even a jump. It's just a hop and a skip.
Right.
From where we are at right now.
Correct.
We're at the.
It's going to be at the Dodge County Fairgrounds, correct? Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I believe you can get tickets starting in October, and if you use code BEAST, I believe you get a 10% discount.
Oh, right on. Yeah, we'll definitely take that in the video for later use. So, all right. So excuse me. There you go again.
You said you were almost going to say Woodstock.
I almost said Woodstock, but Huntstock is coming to Wisconsin. I guess tell our viewers, our followers, what can they expect?
They can expect the hunting public to show up. They signed a contract.
Boom.
They don't do very many shows, so that should be a pretty big draw alone. You should see Rick Lobby there. You should see Lanny Benoit. All those guys from the East Coast said they're coming. The big name guys. Mm-hmm. You should see some land managers there, some podcasters there, and they're trying to get a really big band right now because they do it like a party. It's like a picnic. You go out there and you get to hang with the people that you admire online and on TV, and then afterwards, it doesn't just stop. It's like you go to a deer show and it's like going to a Walmart. You just walk through down the aisles, the single file line, and if they have anybody with a name, it'll be like one person that they bring in. Where they, Huntstock, the Pat and Pat, bring in some really big names, and they charge more for a ticket to get a better crowd, so that you don't have like people that don't really appreciate it. You get better guys in there, but they use that money to bring in what those people want. And then they have a band at the end. They give away huge prizes. and you don't just leave. Like when you go to a show, you bring your buddies to it. You walk around, you can hardly get through the show, and you have a couple $10 beers, and then that's all of a sudden the show's over. You got to go home. There's like nothing to do. There you just stay. There's camping right there for if you have some beers, you can just stay there. You can camp there. You camp there for the weekend. There's bands at night. And Huntstock in Massachusetts had a different band every night, and it was just a riot. I mean, and they would go on to like half the night. Like I'm sure there's time limits when you got to cut the music off, like 11 or whatever, but by town ordinance. But it would go on quite a while. I mean, you really get your money's worth. And I mean, I was watching the band. Me and Scott went up there with Uncle Lou and Lanny Benoit and Dan Wagner and Rick Lobby and all those guys came right over, sat with us right in the crowd with everybody,
Yeah, it was. It's definitely a different experience for sure than what you're used to when you go to shows and that. Like the big one here is the open season one in the Dells, which is a great show. Don't get me wrong, in its own right. But there's also all these like filler booths with somebody selling gutter, some company selling gutter guards or a lint roller mop thing, and it's just these guys don't sell out to that stuff just to fill a booth,
right? Yeah.
And they could just to get that extra cash, but they don't do this with Huntstock. I mean, it's very specific. They want this to be an experience. This isn't one of those things either where you're just going for one day. Now, sure, you can. They have all these different ticket packages available. And the nice thing is they really try to push like this 3-day pass. Mm-hmm. And you'd be surprised that how many people you'd see day after day after day that have these VIP passes or these 3-day passes. There's special passes.
Got there early.
Yeah.
Those people got to come and just like hang out when there's no crowd at all. With me, Rick Lobby, Lanny Benoit, all those guys. They just got to come early and meet everybody before there was a big crowd where you got to wait in a line or.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. I mean, it's really kind of a different experience, and I think it's really going to turn things on its head here out in the Midwest as far as like a way to do a summer type show. Now, obviously, open season and that's in March or whatever, but I think the formula is changing and these guys have got it dialed in, and it's quite an experience.
Leading the pack.
Yeah, they really are. Absolutely. One of my highlights obviously was getting to meet the legend Barry Wenzel, and I picked up his new book, The Old Man in the Tree, and he was nice enough to sign it. Dan and I did a little interview with him and stuff. That was really cool. Awesome to meet him. I mean, that the first night we're there before the film festival that they have. We're having prime rib dinner and that under a tent and hanging out with Barry Wenzel, and I mean it's incredible
to have it be like I don't want to say like an intimate event, but it really kind of is, because you're getting up and close and personal to a lot of people that you really wouldn't normally have access to, right? And that are big names in the industry. I think that's pretty special. What I guess just for the sake of our viewers out there, what can they expect price wise on a ticket like that? Is it even set?
Like $40 when it was in Massachusetts. I don't know what they're going to charge in Wisconsin.
$40. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a it's a little bit more than say like your Deer Fest type thing or whatever.
But you're also
you're
getting substantially more.
The seminars are right there. You're not having to like, I have to go off in this other room kind of a thing. The seminars are happening right there.
Mm-hmm.
Two at a time all day long, one on each end of the show, and it wasn't people you never heard of.
Right.
Like when you go to Deer Fest or you go to the Dells show, it's they'll have one good speaker and the rest of the guys people you've never heard of, And what really pisses me off is a lot of these guys, it'll be like a how to hunt bears or something. And you go to it and it's an outfitter trying to sell you his hunt. Who wants to listen to somebody tell you, go to a seminar on somebody trying to sell you their hunt? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like that at at Huntstock. I mean, it was like Rick Lobby, Lanny Benoit, Hale Blood. One after another, it was great, personalities that everybody knows who they are and giving real tips. You don't really see that at other shows. Like Scott, I bet you it changes the whole demographic on how other places are going to have to do their shows because these guys are taking the lead and changing the direction.
Right. I mean, in a lot of ways, it sounds like, things are dialed in and it's going to be pretty exciting.
The fact that they've already got everything locked in, and this isn't going to be until July of next year, and the wheels are in motion, and people are locked in, like they're not sitting there waiting till we'll wait till February or whatever. Right. We'll start going. Like no, these guys are on it. They're very very well organized, to say the least, and just two great guys, two fantastic guys. I can't say enough about them and the whole experience, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Definitely. And if nothing else, y'all can come out and see who's going to be.
We'll be there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We're going to be there. Of course. We're going to have our own booth.
Yeah.
We'll be interviewing guests all day on Thursday.
Yeah. That sounds like that's the plan.
Yep. So pretty excited about that, and definitely hope to see you guys there.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. If you're just hearing about it now, and you're like, well, I don't want it to be another deer fest. I don't want it to be this. It's not going to be. Right. I can assure you that much.
And I'm not trying to not trying to knock some of these other things. Deer Fest in its heyday was pretty fantastic and was a lot of fun. But this is even different.
This is next level. It's not even comparable because it's never been done like this here.
I'll tell you one thing. I've been helping Pat work on the show for coming to Wisconsin. It was actually my idea for them to come here.
It was
they'd really fly here, and the bands they were talking about, you ain't gonna believe who they're talking to and trying to get involved. I'm not going to spill the guts until they get a contract, but it's unbelievable how motivated these people are to make this into a huge experience.
Yeah, that's exciting. That is exciting. I feel like you guys should be excited. I know I'm excited. I already have my vacation put in. I am off, and it's going to be great.
I can't help it, Dan. I got to spill the beans. Volbeat's going to be there.
It's like, what?
Maybe not. They are not. Whoever's listening, just know that was a lie. They are not going to be there. Maybe the Volbeat cover band. Volbeatsian.
Low beat. Low beat.
Anywho, all right. So enough about Huntstock for right now. I mean, obviously, you guys are going to hear about this more as more details come about. You're going to hear it on this show. You're going to hear it on the Hunting Beast because we're really big on trying to promote this and help these guys really make this just a phenomenal experience for everybody. So something definitely look forward to next summer. So.
For sure.
All right, Dan, what else is going on? I know you have a bear hunt coming up, and you're heading out of town already on Labor Day on Monday, huh?
Yeah.
You want to talk a little bit about that? Are you fired up? Are you excited about bear hunting this year, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, you never know what to expect in western Wisconsin. It's a hard hunt over there, but I do have good bears coming in. I have a tag. Ricky's got a tag. Eric's got a tag. Last time we went there, Ricky shot a bear, a good one, like a 300-pound something bear.
Nice.
And that was his first bear ever. He was excited like crazy. If you guys saw the video, he went absolutely berserk over shooting that bear, and rightfully so. He actually got it on the last day of the hunt. So it is a tough hunt, but I do have really good bears coming in. We all do. and I think out of the three of us, I hope we shoot one or two. Um, but yeah, I'm excited about it. It's always great to get that first hunt out there. You know, the first time you're going out for the season,
Yeah.
there's always a lot of anticipation. And as soon as that bear hunt ends, I mean, I'll have a few days to rest, and then it's right into deer hunting, you know, and then another bear hunt after that. Then I'm going to go out to Maine and with Great Northern Outfitters and Dan Wagner, and we're going to chase giant bears with hounds and thick brush. Can't wait to do that.
Yeah. You've got you've got a plate full
Yeah,
this fall
Kansas.
for sure. You got a Kansas tag.
I got to go back to Massachusetts because Huntstock, the grand prize for the weekend, was a hunt with me, Lanny Benoit, and Rick Lobby.
Holy cow!
Yeah, I got a bunch of crap going on. It's going to be hard to get one in Wisconsin. I might have to settle and shoot the first 170 that comes in.
The first 170. Yeah, you're gonna have to settle for that. I was just looking at the camera and that I'm like, I telling him, I said, I might have to settle for this 130 right here.
I'd settle. I'd be stoked.
So, yeah, you got a lot of stuff on your plate coming up here this fall. And it's going to be hard for us to kind of that's a big reason why I wanted to bring Dan on here tonight.
Right.
Because it's going to be hard enough just to do our show, the Beast Report, just because he's booked.
Right.
And if he's not hunting, he's hunting.
Well, it's a good thing that this is all he does, and he doesn't have a job or anything. And,
right. I mean, you're a professional hunter, and this pays the bills, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we'd like to put that message out there for all you young guys or whatever. If you want to become Dan Infalt, quit your job and just become a professional hunter, and you'll be rich. Beyond your wildest dreams.
I can't fathom like how you are able to balance that. So what? I guess when you really get into the thick of the season, right? So you're balancing work, you're balancing your home life, and then you're also balancing hunting. Sounds easy in theory, but if anybody knows you and how much you put into hunting, how do you even make that a reality? Because I know that you have the same 24 hours in a day that we do.
Yeah, sleep is overrated.
We'll start there.
Right.
Yeah. So I work a 40-hour a week job. I used to work more hours, but I'm getting a little more comfortable now, money-wise. But I work 40 hours a week. I do that in 4 days, 4 tens. And I run the R&D area in machining. Okay. So I can kind of adjust my hours. So like I'll go in at like 2 or 3 in the morning and do my 10 hours, get out in time to hunt every day. And I get 5 weeks vacation. And I wait till fall to take that. It's all for hunting.
Okay.
And I did, trust me, I did offer to give my wife a week. She didn't want to go on any vacations. Hasn't done in 2 years. So all my vacation is towards hunting. So I put my 5 weeks in just a couple days ago. And then I went to my supervisor and I said, I put 5 weeks in for hunting. I said, I could probably use 10 days, 2 weeks more. And he said, just take it. So there you go. I'm going to take about 7 weeks worth of days off between now and the end of the year. And so they're very flexible. They like what I'm doing. I guess they probably get annoyed a little bit when people start tour groups come through or something and they see me and recognize me or whatever, and it stops everything. They enjoy that. Obviously not, but they like what I'm doing, and they're fans too. So they let me take off to do my thing, and it's good life. I got a pretty good job, good life. I don't know how long it's going to last. They sold the building I'm working in, and They just sold them one of my machines.
Okay.
So I haven't had much to do lately. So hopefully it picks up a little bit and some work comes back, and we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I know. In fact, Dan and I were talking about this afternoon, this exact same topic or whatever.
Oh, really?
And because it's really tough. If you want, so many guys are weekend warriors, right? And they only get so much time out in the woods,
Right.
and that makes it really hard. Let's say, whatever your schedule is, it might not afford you enough time after work to get out in the woods on public land, or if you have a piece or whatever, unless it's your own property. I mean, it can be really, really tough to get out there.
I have
And
guys all the time tell me that I have 10 days a year I hunt.
mhm.
How would you get a trophy buck on public land in 10 days? I'm like, buddy, it's going to be hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you're hunting where I'm at, it's going to be hard. I'm literally hunting, 50, 60 days a year, sometimes more than that. So, and I'm not getting opportunities all the time. I mean, it's work. It's not, when you watch videos and stuff and you watch people's hunts, most people, you'll get the perception that they just go out every time they're successful and stuff. But that's why I try to show the misses, the wounds, I even show episodes where it's just a whole week of hunting and show the outcome, and it's because I want people to see that it's not as easy as they perceive. I don't want them to think, what am I doing wrong, and what part of this are they not telling me? But for your average guy, they do not have the time that I have. But I think you kind of have to, if you really want to be on the top of the game, you have to make that time. There's ways to find it. I mean, you just go back a few years and I had to work those hours, and what I would do is I'd get out of work and I'd go straight to the woods. I'd have everything in my truck ready and I'd be able to hunt right after work. Now I understand that most people can't do that every day, but if you have one or 2 days a week where you can do that, I mean, I would rather hunt in my work clothes, my work uniform, my work boots than not hunt. I'd rather get in late in a spot and take a chance of blowing something than not hunt. You can kill something when you're late. You can kill something when you stink like a machine shop, but you can't kill nothing if you can't hunt because you don't think you have enough time.
That is a great point. That's a really great point. And and I think when you're talking about that you're hunting 50, 60 days a year, and not only are you, I guess maybe I should preface this by saying, at the risk of sounding stupid, because I had to say it at least once this episode. I say that at least a few times every episode, but at the risk of sounding stupid, that's not including the scouting, right? That's 50 to 60 days that you're strictly hunting.
That's just hunting, yeah.
But during that time, right, during the 50, 60 days, and let's say you're hunting and nothing's happening, you're still learning, right? You're still scouting as you're going, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So that is all really plays into it. And yeah, there's a lot of people, like you were alluding to earlier, that are weekend warriors that don't really have the ability, or maybe it's even just perceived ability. Sometimes it's, you got to want it enough to make it matter.
That's exactly it. Want it is the most important thing you have in you. It's more important than skill. I mean, I know some kids that hunt that do exceptionally well, that when I talk to them, I can tell that they don't know a whole lot, but maybe they think they do, maybe they don't, but they go out there and they try real hard and they pound it and they really just keep trying over and over and come in from different angles, and they're always thinking it. They're always trying to find a way to get out. They're always trying to find a way to hunt a certain animal, and it's always on their mind. Those people will do well. If you only think about hunting when it's time to go and you're like, I only have weekends and I got to take one day with my wife, I can go out maybe Sunday, after church or something. And if you think about it like that, or you think I can go every other weekend, I do every other weekend with my wife, and you're not going out in a week at all, that can be a really long road. A lot of guys lock themselves to, like, I got a property that I go to in this town or whatever, and that's my property. And they're not even realizing that if they really studied it, they could find something close to their shop where they work. They could find something close to their home, and maybe it's not as good as your property, but it's getting you in the woods. And every time you put yourself in a new scenario, you learn.
Right.
So some of the people that think they're the best hunters really aren't. You see guys online that, and I'm not knocking them, but they talk strategy and skills and stuff. When you get that down to it, they've got a lease or they've got a property or a farm that they always hunt, and they've got stands out there and they rotate through them. And so literally they're hunting 5 or 6 stands all the time for years. They're killing bucks, but killing bucks doesn't make you a good hunter. What do they learn in every one of those hunts? It's the same freaking hunt over and over and over again. As soon as you put yourself outside of that box and start jumping around, okay, what do I have near work? Okay, I could probably get in this little property here. Maybe it's not the greatest, but what would be the best situation in this property? Where could I go in from the best? And even if you don't shoot something, you're going to learn something. But you put yourself in those situations, you'd be surprised, even on properties that seem like they're overhunted and stuff, the stuff that goes through there, that lives around there, that comes in there during rut or comes in there in early season, But to always find windows of opportunity, you have to really want it. You have to be thinking about it. You have to be trying to search that out, those opportunities. You have to be willing to call your local ward and go, hey, is there any properties around this area that are open that I might not know about? Study your Onyx, go through the apps, whatever you got to do. I am constantly looking at new properties. I'm constantly looking at different areas. If I'm going to an area for something like now I'm going to Maine, right? I'm already looking that I'm going to have a deer license too while I'm there. The bear license comes with a deer license.
Really? Okay.
And I'm going to say, okay, if I tag out and I don't have time to get back, I can do one hunt there. Where is it going to be? So I'm thinking about that one hunt. Where anybody else going out there be thinking about their bear hunt, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about if I can squeeze in a deer hunter, maybe I can hunt mornings for deer. Maybe I get an opportunity. So I'm going to look into that. It's unlikely, but I want to be prepared if that opportunity comes. Because for me, the more opportunity I'm in the woods, in a tree, the more opportunity that something can happen. I mean, we've all been on hunts where you don't expect anything to happen, and out of the blue, a deer just comes walking in from nowhere that you're like, holy crap, it's a nice one. You shoot it.
Right.
Most people have had experiences like that. It ain't happening if you're on the couch watching TV.
Right. Yeah. And that just brings, that's such a good, valid point that I don't think a lot of people really, truly realize. So, and I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like a lot of people really lie to themselves. Like, oh, I really do want to get a big buck, or I really care about this. But actions speak louder than words, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Right here. Guilty right here. My brother, and, he'd probably, doesn't come close to the level of dedication that you have.
Not close.
But he is a much more successful hunter than I am. And I've realized this over the last few years, that what I really hunt for and what really drives me is the camaraderie, being together with friends and family and things like that, but then also just filling my freezer. I care about the meat. That's what's important to me. If it has some antlers on it, outstanding. That's exciting. But it's not important to me, and I'm okay with that. But there's a lot of people out there that put on this, that they pontificate that is what is important to them.
Yeah.
And in reality, it isn't, because if it was, they would find a way.
Exactly.
You know what? I think you hit the nail on the head. A lot of guys, it's a status symbol. Like, I'm a big buck hunter.
Yeah, right.
It's a status symbol. It's not really who they are. For the guys that are successful, when you look at a guy like me or a guy like maybe Andy May or anybody else you can think about that's, Rick Lobby, all of us got that trait where we're deer hunters first before anything else. I mean, it's like, if you ask me who I am, before I tell you I'm a father, before I tell you I'm a Christian, I'm going to say I'm a deer hunter. Mm-hmm. And that might sound bad, but that's just the way we're wired. And if you don't have that, you're never going to have that level of success.
And Go ahead, Dan. Finish up.
I was just going to say that, I'm hunting a very hard area. This southeastern Wisconsin, people look at Wisconsin like it's such a great destination. And it is if you're on private land. I mean, we shoot more booners than any place else in the country. You hear that all the time. Oh, Dan's in a great area. How many other people do you hear about in Wisconsin that are doing it on public land like I am?
Right.
Not many. Most of them have leases or they're on private property. A lot of the ones that are making the record books so high are from Buffalo County or, there's places that are pretty locked up.
Tremplow, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You have to really work to kill a great buck on public land in this area of Wisconsin. I go to parking lots, there's 25 trucks there, on a Saturday during rut. That's what you got to compete with. So if you don't think outside of the box and you don't push yourself, you're not going to get that. And a lot of these guys just, they'll try to find a way to buy the buck. They'll try to find a lease or whatever. And they're kind of skipping the experience and everything. I'm not saying a lease is bad. I'd like to have a good one too, for a backup. Every now and then it's nice to just stop running around with a tree stand on your back for hours, especially at my age, and just have a place where you just go one day or something and relax kind of and still be in the game for a big buck. But there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with hunting those leases and stuff. But you got outside of that box. You can be hunting a lease that has really good bucks, 140, 150, 160, and right down the street there could be a piece of public that has a 220-inch buck on it. Mm-hmm. You don't even know it or even have a care because you're just going to that lease. I want to find my best opportunity. I want to keep looking around, keep floating around, try to find those opportunities. And I think every time you hunt a new area, you learn new things. The guys that go to those stands over and over again, what do they ever learn? They learn how to hunt that stand. They don't advance, but they think they're great hunters, and it's that status symbol.
And again, not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but
if you want to be right, if you want to have the wall that Dan had, right. if you want to be a beast, it's a different thing, right?
I'm a little different than other people where I don't look at it like I don't care what other people like. Like I don't care if you want to shoot a lot of does and a lot of small bucks and you just want to put meat in the freezer. That don't bother me. Other people be like, you shot a little buck, you're supposed to let that. I don't care. You shooting little ones makes mine look bigger. What do I care?
You're welcome.
Right. Thank you. So, I don't care what you use for a weapon. Why do people get so upset about crossbows?
I don't know.
It's like, to me, it's like, I care about what I shoot them with. What do I care what somebody else does? That's just population control. If everybody held out for giant bucks, I'd have to hold out for a bigger buck.
There wouldn't be many giants left.
Right.
So it really doesn't matter what other people do. It just matters what you do and how you carry yourself. Why piss everybody off and why have all this infighting?
The infighting is what drives me absolutely bonkers. I saw some crap again today in that, and I'm not even. I would love to call this guy out, but I'm not even going to bother because I'm not going to give any credence or I'm not going to put that energy towards this individual that constantly has to put himself on this pedestal of constantly putting down anybody that uses a crossbow. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
It makes no sense.
Hell, we had Rick Lobby on the other night, and that's what he's using these days, and he has now actually for several years, and he loves it. Does that make him? Make him a piece of shit hunter? Absolutely not.
Rick
the
Lobby.
Yeah. Exactly. I also kind of want to rewind things back a little bit to what you were saying before, in that where you describe yourself as a hunter first and foremost, and that it takes it's a certain type of person, like you said, that says like, who are you? And I want to just warn, not warn, but just kind of put it out there, like, don't try to be Dan Infalt. Be you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Be you. Don't be Dan Infalt. There's only one hunting beast. There's only one Dan Infalt. There's only one Rick Lobby. There's only one Aaron Warburton. There's only one Jared Scheffler. You know what I mean?
There's 10 million of me, but
be Drew Biskobing.
But be me. I'm good with that. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So be good with what you are. Right. don't try to say I'm this, but then don't put in that level of effort.
Right.
You bring up a good point because, like what you were saying before about all these people wanting to be somebody in hunting. If you really want to be a great hunter, look around at the great hunters. Every single one of them has his own style. There's something about him that's different from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So if you modeled yourself to be me, or you modeled yourself to be Rick Lobby, right? You're never going to be him. For number one. Number two, you're just copying what he's doing. What you should be doing, if you really want to excel, is look at a guy like me. Look at a guy like Rick. Look at a guy like Lanny Benoit. Look at a guy like Andy May, and kind of see if there's anything in there that fits your style, and use their tips and stuff to excel you, but find your own way. Every person that is a great hunter is a standalone guy that you can look at him and say, well, you know, like people will be like, Dan's the swamp guy. He's the bed guy. He hunts the beds and stuff. Mm-hmm. Rick's a great tracker. He knows everything about a track. He can tell weight. He can tell that, we each got our little thing, and it probably is a product of how we grew up in hunting.
Right.
And the people watching us didn't grow up the way we grew up, so they're going to see it differently, and they're going to struggle if they try to be me.
That's a great point.
If they take things out of there that clicks with them, try things. If you think I got something that I told you that you think that would work for me, go out and try it. If it don't work for you, be willing to flex and try something different in your area.
Right. I mean, I'll go back to what Dan said about describing himself as a deer hunter first, or
Sorry,
but
I got carried away.
No. I mean, because I think there's a lot of branches off of that statement, but it can also be to a detriment too. Right, Dan? I mean, you said that you describe yourself as a hunter before a father, before a husband, and that because that's the way you're wired. That's the way you grew up. That you were a feral kid. You spent. I mean, I know you've used those terms to describe yourself, but at the same time, like, if you're not wired that way, then you probably shouldn't necessarily try to force that, because it will come with a detriment to your personal self, your family, your friends. If you're more of a social person and things like that, like, you have to sacrifice so many other things.
Right. Within the same 24 hours that we all have.
Right. I mean, we talked about the 24-hour thing, right? I mean, how do you fit everything in a 24-hour period of time and still be wired to only be constantly thinking about killing a big buck and everything, all the process that goes involved with that?
Absolutely. And I guess just to even further expunge on that, I look at the guests that we've had on this show, right? Whether it be Dan Infalt, the hunting beast, who is wildly successsul, and just blows my mind, by the way, every time I look at
him. You can stop kissing his ass already.
Come on, man. He's great. But anyhow, to where, like, our Chase Nation guys and how they view things and their level of dedication is very much involved in the same, but for different reasons, as well. You gotta just do what is best for you.
Right. You gotta
maintain that healthy lifestyle. I guess that was my point.
I mean, Dan, I think you have said it in the past. I mean, to an extent, you have had some regret. Like, you would maybe do things differently, right?
Sure. I mean, I don't know if I'd change anything in my past right now.
Sure.
Does it make me who I am?
Well, exactly.
Those things that what he's getting at is that, like, I probably didn't make the best decisions as a husband, as a father, missing Halloweens because it's rut, when I was younger, and obsessed, missing my wife's birthday. I mean, just 2 years ago, I skipped out on my wife's birthday and shot a 170-inch buck. And I got a lot of help from that, from comments, but she was good with it. I mean, if if my wife says to me these days, I mean, I need you home tonight, I just stay home, no matter
Sure.
what I had going on. But that wasn't always the case. I think when I was younger, I was so obsessed. It would be every night. I'd lose jobs over hunting. I'd specifically take a job because I could get out hunting, and the job would be half of what my pay is worth, or what I'm worth,
Sure.
because it meant more to me. So those things, that obsession, I mean, it was almost like an addiction, and I think other people have that too. A lot of young people I see are the same, and you see a lot of really good deer hunters are going through divorces. Somehow I stayed with my wife for nearly 40 years now. She's a great woman.
She's the same.
My girlfriend, though,
There's the Dan I wanted to hear from tonight.
Oh my God.
I got through all that stuff, and you learn some lessons. But really, I wouldn't be so compassionate about that subject if I hadn't learned those lessons.
Right.
If I hadn't missed those Halloweens and stuff that I wish I had. I wish I had more time with my kids as they're growing up, instead of more time in the woods. But I can't go back and change that. What I can do is, preach so other people don't go down the same path, or at least so that they see what they're doing.
Or at least know that there's consequences, or there's sacrifices involved. I mean,
it's kind of a man thing. Men do that, and not everybody has this, so don't take this wrong.
right.
I'm not trying to single out men as bad people, but a lot of men have a thing in there where they find something, they kind of obsess over it, and they go for it.
Mhm.
Like each one of us might have other skills. Like I might have been a great football player or a great baseball player or something, but I didn't have that passion. You know what I mean? You look at a guy who's a top baseball player or a top football player. I can guarantee you they were training every day. They were ignoring their wives. They were ignoring their kids. They were, that's all they did in college. Their whole obsession was getting the draft, even though the odds were against them. It's kind of like a guy trying to get a booner and the odds are against them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's got their passion. At least if I would have had that passion in football, if I was as skilled as I am now, I'd actually be making a living at it,
Multimillionaire.
Right.
But deer hunting, there's, a lot of these young guys think you're going to make a living. You're not.
Right.
Very few people make money in deer hunting by being good. There's
podcasting.
People that are, and podcasting.
Yeah.
All of us are doing what we're doing. I mean, the three of us here, we might have different passions in hunting, but we're all sitting on this podcast, not because we're making a living on this, but because of our drive and our passion.
Because we love it.
My passion is really to help, as Jane said, kind of like help the youth, help more people come into hunting, young guys, have them see success right away so they don't fail and get out of it. But if I didn't have that hunting, and if I didn't do those things that maybe I skipped out on my wife to go hunting, skipped out on my kids to Halloween to be in a tree. If I didn't have that stuff, what would I have been doing? Would that drive have sent me someplace else? I know when I was young, everybody around me, all my friends and stuff, got into drugs real heavy, got into drinking real heavy. Half of them are dead. And that was the path I was kind of going on, and what saved me was getting into hunting. Mm-hmm. And I want to do that same thing for other kids. I want to do that for other people, get them away from that path, when everybody else is pushing them into it. What do you do if you're not hunting? Where are you doing? You sitting in a bar? You womanizing? What's going on? I think hunting is a pure great thing that we can be doing in our pastime, and a lot of guys have that drive, and they're going to be doing something.
Right.
It's fantastic points.
Dan, what's your mission statement? Because this is something I've been pushing you to talk about more and more, and that you actually have this mission statement. And
yeah, I think everybody should have kind of write down what they're trying to achieve and have a mission statement. And mine is to make people better hunters and hunters better people.
Oh, that's money.
Right.
Yeah, that's
it's perfect.
That is perfect. I do actually have one myself. No, it's good. It's good, and it's peachy.
Can't wait for this.
Yeah, Luke's already at the mixing board right now.
Yeah,
What-
just
Yeah,
relax.
just gonna go ahead and
there,
mute your
Luke.
microphone.
No, it is. He did mute it. Mine is better today than yesterday.
yeah,
So just always strive to be a better person today. Just focus on today. What can I do today to impact somebody, or maybe just myself? You know,
to make yourself a better person and
exactly.
and be a better example for people around you too. Sure.
I think you stole that from Jerry Taft, but
I don't even know who that is.
You don't remember Jerry Taft?
Yes, I do. Of
All
course, I do.
Southeast Wisconsin folks do. I know Dan remembers Jerry Taft.
good night and better tomorrow.
Although he probably didn't catch too many of those 10 o'clock broadcasts or whatever because he was too busy dragging a
Slogging
booner
out of the swamps,
swamp.
Yeah, exactly.
We've all drug boners out of this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a fantastic mission statement. And that's what I think sometimes people don't understand why Dan does what he does. He puts out the videos that he does, the educational side of it.
Right.
You know, why put all that information out there? And it's not like you just started doing it now. You've been doing this for a long time.
Several years.
The mission statement says it all.
Right.
Because a lot of guys are very guarded with their tactics and the way they do things because they don't want. But then you have people like Dan in the hunting public and others like that
Right.
that are open to share the knowledge in that. That was a big thing, you know, talking with Rick in the Northeast. These guys are very, very open with sharing their tactics for how they track bucks and that. Because when they're gone, if there's nobody else to share the information, if the information isn't there, it dies.
It dies.
Or somebody else has to pick it up. And you can only hope and pray that actually happens.
Well, don't sell yourself short because, full-heartedly, I mean, yes, it was our father that introduced us to hunting. But if it wasn't for you and your passion for hunting and the outdoors in general, Dad doesn't hunt anymore. I wouldn't hunt. There's no way. You've given me a lot of knowledge. That doesn't mean that I'm good at it.
But now you've been finding out. I've just been ripping it off of Dan for the last several years.
But no, I mean,
that's hey, let me tell you about thermals.
But you've always been that. You have a passion for hunting.
Yeah,
and
right.
you definitely share it with anybody that wants to listen. And and you'll be the first to say, I don't know if this is right, but hey, this is what's working for me, or I think you're going to be successful if you do this or try that. Yeah. And it's worked for me, and it's been great. And my freezer's always full, and it's spectacular.
Sure. I mean, the biggest thing with Midwest and that's always been the thing, all the way going back to when Chris hosted and late Jason Schrader here, RIP, is I never, ever, and I think it was the consensus, is we didn't want to be educators in that on a show like this. We didn't want to be like, look, this is how you do this. This is the top 10 tips and tricks for blah, blah, blah. Like, that's why we bring guys like Dan and other individuals on that are more accomplished than that. Like, this has been a platform for other people, and that's the way I always wanted it to be. Yeah. Now, outside of mentoring other people getting into hunting, kids and stuff like that, being part of camo and things of that nature, helping out like that I'm 100% for. Right. But what Dan is doing is I don't want to say a detriment to himself, but it's made hunting to an extent a little more difficult for you. And I know it's been the same thing for the hunting public. Do you want to expunge on that at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that spend an awful lot of time trying to figure out exactly where I am when I make a video. Unfortunately,
right.
Whenever I kill a buck, people will find that spot, and that spot will just get demolished after that. So there's some good in that too, though. It keeps me looking, it keeps me moving, keeps me adjusting. It keeps me, getting on to that next buck.
Right. I mean, look, pull up a couple of these bucks here. I want you to, I don't know if I haven't been paying attention there. just some of these ones. When was this buck here, Dan?
I can't see it. That one. That was 2 years ago.
Okay.
That buck. I was hunting in Iowa, and I shot an absolute slob, a monster, and winged him and didn't get him. And everything went wrong. The camera went black. The arrow hit a vine and nicked the buck. And I was so ticked off, I left early and went home like a little 2-year-old baby. And I got home and started pacing the floor. And it was my wife's birthday, part of the reason I went home. And she just said, you know what? Just go. You don't need to be here. Just get out in the woods. So I wasn't even planning on being in my home state, but there was one parking lot down the street from me that just had all these trucks in it, and I couldn't figure it out. And I thought they must be seeing something on camera. And that's exactly what it was. So I went in there, I went to the back of the property in an area that I had scouted in the past and got into a tree I'd picked in spring. And there was so many cars there, and it was such a small area that when I heard a loud grunt, I assumed it was a person. But I still grunted back, and that thing came walking out, walked right up to me, and I shot it at 10 yards.
Jeez.
That's incredible. So what I want to do here, because we're just over an hour here, whatever. We have to take a quick break here for a word from one of our sponsors here,
right.
and so stick with us, guys. But we're gonna bring up a few more bucks here and get some stories here from Dan on some of these legendary bucks that he's killed over the years. So
I want the story on the thing that looks like you should have rode him home. That thing is so damn big.
So we're gonna get back to that, guys. Stick with us. We'll be back momentarily. All right, and we're back. Thanks for sticking with us, guys. We are still joined with...
Where are we?
We are... Where are we?
I don't know what's happening right now. I'm still looking for my shoes.
We're still here. We're still joined by Dan Infalt. We all got a little...
Refreshments?
refreshments, yes.
Yes.
We're fully refreshed.
I'm refreshed.
It's a Mentos commercial.
I feel wonderful.
All right, so we were just talking about that last buck, but Dan, I thought if you're cool with this here, I pulled up just a couple bucks, and I know you don't even know which ones I pulled up here, so I'm going to really pop them out of nowhere here on you. We're going to bring this guy up here, and this is the one that Drew was just talking about. That
Fancy Moses. My God.
That's a big boy, girthy.
Yeah, it's a pig.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
what's the
that
story?
farm was actually on Dave's farm. So it was. We were getting glimpses of it. So I would see it come into this like centrally located food plot. It's a very open area, but it would get there after hours or come by just after shooting light, and you get a picture of it or you'd see it physically walking in and out. And I was trying to figure out where it was coming from, and I didn't know. I just had that it was the destination was this food plot. So I started doing a radius look around the farm where I thought it might be coming from, and kind of hunted the whole area down. And there was only one place that I didn't check, and I thought maybe it might be coming all the way across these open fields from the neighboring property where I had permission to get into this big swamp that was on the neighbors. And I went over and I set up on the edge of that swamp, and where I thought he'd be coming out, where sign showed me. And I got in there, and there were some problems with the neighbor behind that property, where he was always trespassing and stuff.
Oh.
And I hear somebody coming through the brush, and you can just hear him just pushing all his branches and stuff. I'm like, okay, now my hunt's over again with this idiot, you know. I'm like standing out in the stand, kind of looking over there, and it was gun season, so I was wearing blaze orange, and I'm figuring this guy's going to see me standing up there, so I'm standing where he's going to see me and hopefully turn around, but it's pretty much over anyways, because it's like the 10 minutes before closing. And the brush moves and he pops out, and it's not him, it's that buck. He was just making noise coming through the brush. It actually sounded like somebody trying to pull a tree stand through the brush. And it was him headed for that food plot, taking a slow time about it. And
Hey, take it easy. He's a big boy.
something got knocked on my scope on my gun or something, and I didn't realize it. I don't know when it had happened, but since I had shot it last. Dave did not hunt, and he had to work or he had to do something or something. I can't remember exactly what, but he got to the farm like the last half an hour, and he didn't live there. His mom lived there, but he came just to talk to me after hunting because he liked to be involved whether he was on the hunt or not. And I shot at the buck, and it just stood there and looked at me, and I'm like, how did I miss? It was like a 40-yard shot with a shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
So I put another shell in, and I shot at him again, and he started running right at me. So I put another shell in, and I shot at him as he went underneath me, and he hit the open fields heading towards the food plot area where he was originally headed for. And I shot at him again, and he stopped out at about 75 or 100 yards. And I shot at him again, and he started running right at me. And I was out of shells, so I started jamming shells back into the gun. He's running right at me. And then as he ran underneath me, I realized something had to be drastically wrong with my sights at that point, because there's no way I could have missed those shots. So when he went underneath me, I just looked right down the side of the barrel and shot, and didn't use the scope. And when I did that, he ran into the bushes, and I was like, oh my God, how did I just blow all that? You know, he never lost a stride or anything.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I heard him gagging on his blood. And me and Dave, Dave came out and he was like, "What the hell was happening?" Because I literally loaded the gun twice, and it held like 7 or 8 rounds, and I unloaded every single shell. The one straight underneath me was the last one of the second round of shells. The thing just, it was like a pinball game. He kept coming back because he didn't know where the shots were coming from or something.
Right.
So I followed the trail back in with Dave, and we found a buck not very far. The last shot was the only one that hit him, right through the heart when I aimed down the side of the barrel.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is wild.
What? I mean, I don't know why you just didn't take a hip shot right away. I mean, it's the wild, wild west with the hunting beast.
You know, everybody wants to paint themselves as pristine.
Right.
I'd be willing to bet that there's a lot more of these things that happen, and these stories go untold by other groups and other people. As a matter of fact, I've been on hunts where it's a group hunt and things go down, and it sure wasn't shown in the video.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
But I always try to just be honest about stuff, but that's how it went down.
No, and I think people appreciate that. I mean, people want real because that's their experiences too. You know,
Right.
when they see these perfect hunts on TV, like we've seen through, the late 90s, the 2000s, 2010s,
Oh, yeah.
like everything on all these networks. And that I get it. They're producing a TV show. Like there's an expectation there.
Right.
But I think for a long time, people were like, you watch it, it's as entertainment, but you're craving something real, something like my experience out in the woods, right? My experiences don't look like that.
Nope.
My stories don't, sound like
not.
that. So when I think that's one of the big draws for you, Dan, over the years, and others like you that are willing to show and be very transparent that it doesn't go perfect.
I know a lot of well-known hunters, and I'm not going to drop names,
Right.
but I've had a couple of people who are very, very well known in the industry in like the farm hunting type, where they own farms and they hunt these different farms and do very well and have, shot multiple booners and great bucks, and they manage for great bucks, and they'll tell me, how do you got the more subscribers than me? I got a professional TV crew, films this stuff. We got drones, we got different views. I said, that's the problem, and they don't get it. They keep telling me they have to make that footage like that. I'm like, people don't want to see that. They just want to see what happens. They want to be there with you, and they want to be able to relate to it. And the people watching right now that are listening to what we're talking about, they can't relate to that. They can't relate to hunting where you got to pay $3,000 to hunt. They can't relate to buying a farm just to deer hunt on it. They can relate with going out in the back 40 or going out on the public land and hunting. And that's what I do is I make it relatable. And as you can imagine, as my success soared, so did the sponsors. I mean, people came to me from all over. Hey, want a free outfitted hunt? You want to come to my ranch? You want to go hunt here for free? And I've never succumbed to that. That's not to say I wouldn't take a free hunt from the right place or the right person, but then I would portray the outfitter as the hunter, not me. I'm just there to shoot the buck, right? So I don't really do that very often. Number one, I don't really even want to. Sometimes it's nice to have a break and go on an adventure. If you notice, I do it a little bit with like bear hunting or something something exotic. Like I'd love to go on a mountain lion hunt.
Sure.
So if somebody made an offer there, I'd probably take it.
There you go. Anybody? Any takers? Anybody? Anyone?
Takers. But in deer hunting, if you, if I go and do that, that has no interest to my guys or to people watching, because that's not me showing how to hunt, doing what I do. You know what I mean? And too many people fall into that trap. They start taking those free things. Oh, I can get more bucks if I just kill a giant on video, and everybody will watch me. You know what? You can go watch giants get killed all you want all over the internet.
Right.
You can Google it and see a different guy every 2 seconds for 100 days.
Yeah.
So that's not what people want to see. They want to be able to relate to it. They want to be a guy that they could put themselves in their shoes, and they want to see how you do it. They want to see the plan. They don't want to see some cool drone footage of you walking through, your $1 million property to get to your elevator stand.
Sure. I mean, I think there's a place for all, and I think
Yeah, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. Some people do like that,
right.
but I think that is really going by the wayside, and the stuff like I'm doing is excelling.
100%.
Yeah, I would
Right.
agree. Absolutely.
I mean, but Dan, I feel like you've even evolved, in just the videos you've done from way back in the day, and that we're getting a lot less up nostril shots.
Trying.
I mean, you're really
I'm trying not to show below the waist when I'm not wearing pants like now. That seems to turn people off.
we all appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, that it really is. There's always going to be people out there that want the cinematography, they want the awesome video editing skills, and I enjoy that stuff too.
I appreciate
because
that,
I
yeah.
appreciate it because I know guys that do that, right? That are video editors and they're really good. So I appreciate the art that is,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
And when they're putting that stuff out on YouTube, I mean, we saw some really cool stuff at that film festival in Huntstock, right? I mean, some of that stuff was fantastic. I have a great appreciation for that, but I think it only goes so far. I mean, when you're looking back, and again, not going to name any particular shows, we've seen them all, right? Throughout, whether it was on ESPN or whether it was on TNT or whatever throughout the years, and then your different hunting networks. There's entertainment in that. I mean,
No, absolutely.
Mike and I will sit at deer camp and that, but on the outdoor network or whatever, and it's just kind of background and that, and you're watching or whatever. But like, I don't obsess over anything like that. What I want to see more so is watching YouTube and watching the YouTube guys that are actually doing some education and showing the goods and the bads.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. And I think to your point when you're talking about being relatable, right, is, I find a lot of, I find a lot of failure relatable, right? So if I can see something put out there, right? Hey, this is what happened to me, or this is why I did wrong. Like, hey, that happened to me. Okay, so this is what you did to correct it.
Yeah,
I didn't do that, obviously, but I can apply that to my next hunt. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to be gained from something like that. If you just would be real, something, that we talk about at work all the time. Sometimes it's just better if you just tell me the truth, even if the truth sucks and I don't want to hear it and it's going to make my job harder. I just tell me.
Give it to me straight.
Right, give it to me straight, Joey. Like, what's going on here?
There's just a turnoff kind of with when you turn hunting into a business, like a factory sport. When I was filming for TV, I would have the host tell me, you have to shoot everything that's 2 years old or older. When they come in, you can't keep passing them things. You got to shoot them. Just move on to the next state and shoot another one. That's money for us. Every time you kill a deer, it's money. You don't want to shoot 1.5 year olds, but as soon as they're 2, you want to shoot them. And I'm like, that's just not me.
Right.
And it's like, you see these young guys just buy into that. Okay. And even now it's getting to more where, like, now they're starting to hold out for the bigger ones than the 2-year-olds, but still it's become like factory hunting. Like, I can't believe how many comments I get, like, you didn't even shoot a deer last year. You're not on the game no more. You're getting old or whatever. Maybe I don't want to shoot freaking 2 and 3 year olds. You ever think of that?
Saving them for me.
Hold out for better animals. And sometimes I just don't want to end my season.
Right.
And that's perfectly okay. If you're looking for blood and kills, go to a different channel. Mine's teaching.
Have you ever had a hunt or no, correction. Have you ever had a season rather where you didn't shoot anything and you reflect on it and you're like, damn it, I should have took this one earlier on, but I waited. Has that ever happened to you?
Like you
I think when I was young-
passed.
when I was younger, I had some regrets like that.
Yeah.
In recent years, I've passed some pretty good bucks and never regretted it. I mean, there's a famous video that floats around of me in my heyday passing probably what's a mid 160s walking right underneath me because there was a 200 incher in the woods. I don't regret that at all. Because it
Or
gave me
should you? I mean,
I didn't get the buck, but you know what? When it's walking by, you want to shoot it so bad. You're like, oh my god, if I don't shoot this, I'm not gonna. You know, and when you don't shoot it, looking back, there was like a sense of pride, like that you could let something like that walk past. You know,
I think that's a very fair statement because nothing makes it past my stand
Till you miss.
until I miss. Which we learned was the scope. It was the scope.
It's always the scope.
I took a different gun out the next day and I took a running deer. It was the scope. But yeah, it's just one of those things that, again, it really depends on what you're in it for, right?
Right. What your objective is.
My objective is always fill the freezer,
Hot sticks.
get up to it, and you're like, shit. I'm never going to hear the end of this one.
Yeah, I went through a period of time for a good solid 3 years.
Yeah.
I remember where I didn't shoot a buck because it never was the right buck. And I passed up bucks that would have been the biggest bucks I had ever killed.
Yep.
And it made me sick though about it. So because I'm not wired exactly like Dan is, right?
Right.
But I knew I was hunting a specific buck or one or two specific bucks. So I was passing on bucks that are bigger than anything I've ever killed because I was so locked in on them and that. And I did every season. I kind of I regretted not taking that other buck. And then only to not ever see that other buck again either, and that, I think that's what bothered me. It's like, I didn't have the satisfaction of like, oh, there he is this year now, and now he's bigger.
Right.
So I guess I have a different feeling on that, but I get 100% where Dan's coming from, but he is the hunting beast and I am Scott Biskobing.
Yeah. Yes.
The one buck that I really regret not shooting, believe it or not, was a 4-pointer.
Oh yeah.
And I was pretty young, and I was really into. I just started killing a lot of really big bucks, and I started thinking about scores and stuff. When you first start getting big bucks, you put the first couple in the books, you think it's a big deal, and then you realize it doesn't really matter, and you stop. But I was in that phase where I was really worried about the score, worried about killing some record, and I was hunting in an area that I knew held some big bucks, and I was stalking in on some bedding areas, and I came in on this buck, mature buck bedded, and it was only a 4-pointer, probably about 20 inches wide, probably had like 4 or 5 inch bases.
Wow.
Just two giant forks, and I could have shot him right in his bed, and I didn't. And I still think about that. It like, I don't know why that one bothers me, but it was like, I think it more bothers me that the mindset I had then that's changed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that about myself at that time frame. That I had to have something bigger, and I did shoot something bigger that year, much bigger. But I think now I'd rather have that 4-pointer
because it's so unique.
Yeah, I've always had kind of a passion for the freaks, the weird ones, the ones that look weird. I don't know what it is.
Can you pull up his wall there again? Like, I mean, yes, you have some really. If we look up the upper left-hand corner there, top row. Yep. Well, I don't know. They can't see your cursor, Luke. But
Hey guys, want to go hunting, guys?
that one.
You gonna go deering?
Second row, far right. What's the story? Second row, far right. I don't know. It's probably really hard for you to see, Dan.
I know which one you're talking about. The one.
What?
Yeah. When I look at that wall, before we get to it, when I look at that wall, I there's bucks in there where I have to think about when did I shoot that.
Oh, I'm sure.
But the one you just
I don't
pointed
have
out,
that
I can tell
problem.
you the exact story of that buck because that was a memorable hunt. That
Okay.
was exciting to get that buck, even though it's probably the smallest one on the wall.
Sure.
That's a 2-year-old buck um, that I was hunting where a bedding area is right next to a field. And I was hunting where I can see the field edge and I can see into the woods. And this buck came from the field and was heading towards the woods, going into it, and towards the bedding area. And it was about 40 yards from me. And this is back in the aluminum arrow days. And I was shooting a 70-pound bull, and I had a full-length draw, so I was shooting Lincoln logs, these giant aluminum shafts. And that buck, I could see he had one antler, but on the other side, I could see an antler hanging down around his face, like coming around down underneath his face.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, is that bizarre?" And you could just tell that the antler on his, I think it was his left side, was hanging down around his lower jaw. And I was like, "That is just so bizarre. I'm going to take that buck."
Yeah.
So I was hunting with another guy, a friend of mine, and Chris Gorecki. And Chris was allergic to deer. And
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me this.
he was hunting on the property, but he was in a hurry. He had something he had to do that evening. And so he was going to leave right after the hunt. So when I shot that buck, it was 40 yards with that aluminum arrow. I had to aim pretty high, and that arrow kind of dropped in, and it hit that deer exactly where I was aiming. But with the sound of the shot and the speed of bows back then, and at 40 yards, by the time that arrow got to that deer, it was already spinning to run. But the arrow still impacted the same spot. It was broadside, and then as it spun to run, the arrow, instead of going through the vitals, was going up behind the shoulder, and it came out the neck, so it missed the vitals.
Wow.
And when I got over there was blood everywhere. It looked like somebody took a spray painter and sprayed the brush red, even right
Yeah.
at the impact, going into the brush. And I got Chris, and he came over and he was like, "I'm in a hurry. We got to get this done quick." And I'm like, "All right." And I knew he was going to be in a hurry, so I left my bow hanging in the tree and everything. We're just going to get to the deer. And at least if I get that loaded, then he could go do what he needed to do, right?
Sure.
So we followed his blood trail. As you can imagine, a blood trail like that didn't go very far. So we got like 75 yards into this brush, and there was a draw, that drainage draw that ran down, and you could see the buck laying on the hill on the other side of the draw. So we walk over there, and it was really steep. So Chris kind of took a shortcut and got around in the front of the buck. And when I came up on the buck, the first thing I noticed is his eyes were closed. So I stopped and I stared at it for a minute, because when they're closed, it's usually a living animal.
Right.
And I noticed the chest moving real slightly, but I saw it move. And I said, "Chris, that buck ain't dead." And he goes, and Chris at the time was a little green. He didn't have that much hunting experience, but he was enough of a hunter where he had that arrogance and cockiness to him. And he said that, "Dan, did you see the amount of blood there? The deer is dead. Let's just get this done." I said, "Deer is not dead. I'm going to run back. I'm going to get my bow. And I'm going to take a finishing shot. Just don't move. Don't." He goes, "Dan, the deer's dead. It's just nerves." I go, "The deer's not dead."
Now with its eyes closed.
I went back and I got my bow, and he was kind of ticked at me. I think he thought I was trying to be dramatic or something. But I got the bow, came back, and he's standing straight in line in front of that buck, and it said, "Chris, you might want to move." And he gives me a cocky look, and I'm like, "This buck's going to get up and barrel out of here." And he goes, "Dan, the deer is dead." Okay, I pulled back the bow and I put it right behind the shoulder, and that deer jumped to its feet, ran him over and sprayed him with blood. Ran about another 100 yards and died. And when it came down to it, what that arrow did when it hit it is it went, in between that shoulder and the rib cage kind of thing. It came out the neck as his neck was going to turn around, and it cut that artery.
Yeah.
It didn't cut it in half. It sliced like halfway through. So when that deer under adrenaline was running, blood was,
he was pumping
like crazy, and there was no blood where it was laying on that hill. And I think that razor slice just closed up while it was laying there.
Right, kind of pinched.
Yeah, and it started spraying again. And then when I stabbed it, it sprayed again and sprayed him and ran him over. It was funny because he tumbled right down the ravine down into the ditch. Matter of fact, it was epic and great.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
But so that one has a place in my heart as a great memory.
Yeah. Right. And isn't that really what, at the end of the day, what it's all about? It's your memory for it. And maybe his memory.
You don't mount bucks for other people.
Right.
You mount for you, for your memories, for you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that. And they're mounting them to show them off for other people. And I can tell you what, I mean, Scott, I don't even remember if you shot a buck last year. And I don't know if you know if I did. Maybe from us telling stories. Because really, I could care less if you shot one.
Right.
I mean, and you could care less if I shot one.
Yep.
It really doesn't matter. Honestly.
We think we all care about it, but we really don't.
We think our buddies care and shit, but they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just hunting. You're just out there doing your thing. What it matters to is you.
Mm-hmm.
It might matter to your close family, like your wife might care if you got one. And I think even that's a little bit patting you on the back. I don't really think So
it's a fake. It's
honestly,
she only cares if the freezer is full.
Anybody but you. So when you hang one on the wall, you're hanging on that wall for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Your own ego.
Oh, that's a great point.
Says the guy that's got a museum room.
That's not even in his own house because he's out of a room.
Right. No. I kid.
Only because we're jealous.
Dan, you want to can we get into one more buck here?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
Did we do this one?
No, we didn't do this.
Yeah, bring that one up, Luke. There, Luke.
That's a dandy.
This is more recent, isn't it?
Yes. Mm-hmm. That's 4 years ago, I think.
Okay.
Hard to believe that's been 4 years already. Yeah, I think that's 4 years ago. Because I think it was, I think I didn't shoot nothing last year. The year before I shot the 170 that you had up earlier.
Yeah.
The year before that, I don't think I shot anything. And the year before that, I shot this one. That buck I hunted for many years. Like probably about 4 or 5 years I was hunting that buck. I was getting pictures of him. He was living in a very, very large area of cattails. And there's a lot of dry spots in those cattails. And that area always holds some good bucks. But that buck and a large 12-pointer were my two target animals in that area. And the 12-pointer ended up just disappearing. And I didn't know if he's alive anymore or not at the time when I hunted this buck, because I hadn't seen him in a couple of years. But I didn't hear about anybody shooting him either. But that's been a while, and I still haven't heard about that 12-pointer. So I think somebody either winged him or he died of old age or whatever. But this buck was, I figured based on the pictures I had pictures of him all the way from 2.5. I figured him to be 7.5, and I was right. When we had the tooth sent in and cut in half, they came back at 7.
Okay.
So, hunting this thing was nearly impossible. And this is where we were earlier. We were talking about that drive thing, where you got to really, really want it. I think most people would just give up and say that you can't kill that deer, but it drove me nuts. I like the challenges. I mean, that's what sends me up to like the UP to hunt giant bucks in the UP. It's like because everybody says you can't do it, or when you go over to Michigan, or you know what I mean.
Sure.
I like those challenges. I like the hard hunts. I like to put myself up against a wall and I can't do situation, but still do it. You know what I mean? So I fail a lot because of that. But that buck was living in that cattail area. I had him coming onto an island, and I blew it. he busted me there, and then it was game on. He wasn't coming to that island no more unless he was checking. That's where I'd get pictures of him, but he'd be at night or he'd come through here or there and get around where I could hunt. And that island was so small that you'd be hunting in basically the same spot. There's like 2 or 3 spots you'd be under it. So that buck had me busted on that island. There's no way I was killing that deer on that island, or anybody was. And other than that, he wasn't coming out of them cattails much in daylight that I could figure out. So I was trying to, it was bothering me. I was like, this is an unkillable deer. How do you get him? You can't hunt him on the ground because cattails are too high. You can't hunt him out of a tree because he doesn't go near one in daylight. What are you going to do? So it was bothering me. And in spring, I just kept, when I'd have a day and I didn't have enough time to go to some other property and scout, I'd go to that spot and go back there and head in those cattails and look around and follow his trails around in the snow or whatever. And, just try to figure out how I'm going to hunt him. You'd jump him constantly. He'd move around, but he'd stay in there. So I was trying to find, like, is there a window? Is there some short cattails? I knew some that were near the water's edge where maybe I could kayak in there where I wouldn't have to go through them. And I'm trying to find some way. And I mean, the kayak path in there was hell. But I was thinking maybe I can get in there and get right up to that edge. And there's a spot where he would travel through. And if I could hit that with the right wind, I could kill him. So I went out there and I started looking at that. Didn't really look feasible. Started looking around for some other stuff. Is there some place in here where the short cattails I can get away with? Something I could do? And I just kept looking and looking and looking in a spot where I didn't think I could really get this buck. But I wanted to find a way. So I kept trying. So I'm looking in there and I come up onto this little grassy hill. And that grassy hill was like an aha moment. I had seen that hill before. I knew that place like the back of my hand.
Sure.
But I never really put 2 and 2 together. When I saw that, and I looked in, there was one edge of that hill that had willow brush on it. Just a short strip of it. And I'm looking at that willow brush and I'm like, that could hold a deer, So I walk over to that willow brush, and sure enough, it's just littered with beds. And all the brush is just tore up with rubbing. And I put on the detective hat and I said, okay, the willow brush loses its leaves in early to mid-October. Pretty early in October, usually, like after the first week. So you start getting some cold days.
Yeah.
And bucks are going to bed there when there's willow, when the leaf cover's there. They're not going to bed there when it's wide open to the sun.
Exactly.
Under the leaves. You can even see the beds. When you look at the beds, you can see they're tucked under them branches. They're in the leaves. They're hiding from the sun. They're not going to lay out in the open sun. They're just not going to do it. So that told me that those beds were made, when those leaves were there. So prior to, at least prior to the first week in October, right? Which is a pretty short window, considering that the rubs told me that they're bedding there when they have hard antlers. So now I got, from about September 10th to about October 10th, it's only like a 4-week period. There's an awful lot of beds there and an awful lot of rubs for that short of a window. And so I knew there was 2 good bucks in that area. One I wasn't sure if it was alive, and now I'm probably kind of convinced it wasn't because it wasn't seen in that whole time frame.
Right.
But I knew that this buck was alive, so I was assuming he was in there. So now I got my target buck bedding in a spot, and I got a time frame. So I look at that island, and there's one main trail coming out of those beds heading towards private land. But it's also heading really quick towards that land border. But following it in, it went through some heavy cattails and deep water. Went 75 yards from the beds. It came up to this little point that jutted out of that private land that had one little tree about this big around that a guy could get a stand in just high enough to shoot over the brush.
Not just any guy. Not
One guy.
Let's be clear here.
One guy.
I mean, a guy in that. I don't know a lot of guys. I mean, I know they're out there, whatever. But this guy is gonna go up a tree. How far? Just 1 stick? 2 sticks?
I think I got a couple sticks in it, like 2 sticks or something.
Oh, yeah. You're a
got
nut.
about 10 feet up or something to the point where it was getting, too small. And I had to cut a limb to be able to get a stand in there. Um, and I had a little hole to the left and to the right. And the trail, when it came up out of the cattails, split there. And one went one way up the point and the other one up the other way. So
Yeah.
there's two trails coming out of there, but either one could be hit. So it was a little problematic beyond just a little tiny tree that you almost had to come through the bedding to get there.
Mm.
And then it was, other than that little hump, you're walking through some pretty deep water in the cattails, which is problematic with noise, right? And so I would need a north wind in order to hunt that. And it would have to be a pretty brisk wind for me to be able to walk around that. And I had to find a route, and the route went through water quite a ways to get there, and to swing around a land border and swing
Sure.
back in. And but I made a route, found it. So I had to took a couple weekends with Ricky, and we actually cut a path in the cattails because there was no deer trail through the deep water. And we took a machete and cut a path in July to get to the land, to get around it, so that I wouldn't make noise getting in there. And it took me 2 days to cut that in like 90-degree weather. And I went, like 20 or 30 yards in from the land border so nobody would find the trail, and cut the path. And then I knew I had to get in there early. So I planned the very first day we would have a brisk north wind, I would go to that tree and I would hunt. So a few days into the season, we got a very strong north wind. And I thought, okay, timing's right. So I headed there and waited out there, got to the dry land, snuck around to the tree, and snuck up the tree and put my stand in. And got in the stand, and I don't think it was 30 minutes later, a fawn pops out of a bed probably 15, 20 yards from me, right next to me. Never knew I
Was
said
there.
it.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
Didn't even know I climbed that tree. I mean, I'm sure the wind helped a lot there, but I was being pretty sneaky, And it pops up, and it's feeding right where it popped up on the dogwood and stuff. And then about 20, 25 yards in front of me, a doe pops up on the end of the point, obviously with the fawn.
Right.
Well, the doe starts heading my way, and instead of taking the trails, it comes right into the brush point where my tree is and starts walking right underneath me. And this hunt's on film if anybody wants to see it. But it comes out underneath me, and at the same time as it's about popping out underneath me, I can hear something coming from that buck bedding area and coming through that water and coming straight from those beds, coming straight at me, sloshing. And this doe gets right to the underneath me, and she's probably about 5-6 yards from the tree, and her head spins around and stares at the bottom stick on this tree. You're in her bedroom. You know what I mean?
Right.
Staring at it, and then she looks up at the second stick.
Something doesn't look right in this bedroom.
And her
What
head
did-
goes to this big fat guy up in the tree above it. And, about the time we made eye contact, she just freaked, and you just see this look on her face, and she drops down to the ground and spins around like a rocket in one sweep move into the brush, around to that point, runs right back to where she was bedded, which is in between me and what I think is that buck coming.
Right.
And she stops at where that buck would come out onto the point. It just starts blowing and blowing.
What a bitch.
She probably blew like 100 times. And I'm just
Oh.
So she finally left, and when she did, I heard whatever that was coming, which I imagine was the buck, sloshing way out in the distance like it turned around on the left. So at that point, I figure that buck didn't come in and smell me. He didn't know what was going on. He doesn't know what spooked that doe.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give it one more hunt the next day, which was still a north wind, just to keep him honest. I didn't think he'd come back. I figured he's too smart for that, but I'll keep him honest. So the next day I went and did the same hunt, and nothing showed up, like expected.
Yeah.
And then what I did was something that most people wouldn't do. I stayed the hell out of there. I got out of there. I wouldn't come back. I'm going to leave it for 1 year. Just come back next year, early season. Because if you go in there, that buck knows that something was up there. And he's going to come in, he's going to wind check it, he's going to smell your scent or whatever. And that's going to become like every other spot. You ain't going to be able to kill this deer.
Ridiculously disciplined, though, to do that. That's just
Right, yeah.
I mean, 9 out of 10 guys are going to be like, I was this close. I'm assuming it's that buck.
They're going to keep.
Right.
Yeah, when you're out
in.
there searching for another deer and you're out there and you're struggling and where do I hunt? And that spot's in the back of your mind. I could just go there. But I wouldn't do it. I mean, I've been down that road before and I've seen what the outcome is.
That's the difference.
So I waited a year. The very next year, the very first north wind, I was waiting and itching at that spot. Stayed out of there for an entire year.
I bet. Yeah.
It was day 5 of the season, which put that deer at 7.5. I went back in there, did the loop. I didn't recut the trail, but the trail and it had started to grow back in. But I got back out there, waded through the water. I had to be a little more quiet because the cattails had grown back, so it was harder to get through there. But I got set up, and everything kind of played out exactly the same, except for one thing: those does never got up. They weren't there. The does that were there the year before.
Right.
So about the same timing, I hear something coming just before dark out of that out of the willow brush, coming through that canal, through the trail that's in the cattails. And I even talked about on video how you could look at that trail and you could see it was a buck trail because the cattails were broken at head high.
Yeah.
And I'm envisioning he's going to pop out right at the mouth of that trail. And I'm watching as he does. It's the buck I'm hunting. Come right from the bed I expect him to be at, up the trail I expect him to come up, pops out, takes my left side, comes by, and he's behind a big bush. And I thought I'm going to slip the bow back here before he gets to close range because he was going to come by at 10 yards. And it was kind of thick, so I only had so many open. So I pulled the bow back, and when I got it back, I pulled it back a little fast, not wanting him to pop out while I was at half draw or something. And when I did that, it made the bow make a click when it hit the cam stop.
Cam stop, yep.
And it was the slightest little click. But you can hear it on the video. It's click. And that deer just locks. I mean, he doesn't like stop and start looking around. He locks and doesn't move.
Right, trying to figure out what made that sound.
Yeah, he just, like a statue, he locks up. And I'm sitting there at full draw going, oh, crap. So I'm thinking he's going to bolt. And I'm looking at the situation. I'm trying to analyze it. Well, if he bolts, what do I do? He's probably going to run back the same trail back out. And when he does, he's going to probably stop right at that trail he exited on and look back. And that's about 25 yards. I can probably drop an arrow in there. So I'm thinking if he bolts, I'm going to swing the bow to that area. I'm already shifting my feet a little bit as slow as I can because he's locked up listening. But when he does, I'm going to swing over and aim at that spot. And if he stops, I got a shot. And I mean, it was a long time I was at draw. I don't remember. I remember we timed it. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a long time I was at full draw.
I remember the video, yeah.
Through the brush, I see his tail flick, which is usually an indicator like, okay, it's okay. And then he starts walking again. And he comes walking out, and he's kind of walking fast, but he's walking down the trail. Now he seems like nonchalant, like nothing's going on. But it's just a few steps till he's in my shooting lane. He comes through, and I'm following him with the pin, and now I am not going to stop that buck. Because now you go, and that thing's going to bolt.
Yeah, he's already on edge.
Trigger. He's already had one trigger. I'm not going to try and stop him. So I'm at 10 yards, you shouldn't miss anyway. So I'm following his heart, and I shoot. And believe it or not, the speed of him walking at 10 yards was enough to put the arrow back a little bit. And I hit around the liver guts area. And he hunched up, ran around a bush that was on the other side of him, like a piece of willow brush. He got around the other side, and he just went dead silent, so I knew he was standing back there. So I just stood there, and I knew the hit was back. And I was thinking about how I'm going to get out of here or whatever. And when he didn't move for a long time, I just kind of thought, well, I'm just going to leave my equipment here. I'm going to slide out of the tree as quiet as I can and just sneak out of here. And so I did that. I never heard him leave. And I got back and made some phone calls. And I got a hold of Scott
Gagliano.
He's the area's best dog tracker that I know of.
For sure.
I got a hold of him, and he said he would come out and help me track that deer in the morning. So in the morning, we went out there. With Max the dog.
Yeah.
Max's deer recovery is what he calls it.
Yeah.
If anybody ever needs a deer track, contact me, and I'll hook you up with them if you're in the Wisconsin area.
Southeast Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's part of the whole network in that. There's a lot of great guys.
Yeah. So he came out. We dropped Max on it. That the deer was no longer on the other side of that bush, but he had bedded there. There's a bunch of blood in the bed. But we Max got on that trail, and he pretty much ran straight to that deer, which was a couple 200-300 yards in there. And it would have been a little bit of a stretch to find him because there's a network of trails in there, like a spider web of trails. And he wasn't bleeding real with the back hit.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's drops of blood here and there, smears on the cattails, but you lose the trail a lot. But that dog just ran right through the deer.
Yeah.
So
they're incredible.
We got the deer, and it was a very big-bodied deer. So it was really long. And we went back. We tried to find the arrow with the dog. We couldn't find it. And then we cut down a pole and put the deer on a pole. And 4 grown men couldn't hold that deer up. It was so heavy. I never had a deer like that. The only other one was like that 400-pound slob buck, but that was in the exact same area as this one was shot.
Yeah.
We couldn't hold it up to take 3 steps, literally. 4 grown men. So we ended up putting it in a sled and pulling it. It took 8 hours to get that damn thing out. But so then when we released the video, I got several messages from people that said that they knew where the spot was.
Where they knew the buck, or they knew the spot?
They knew the spot. 2 of the guys particularly said that one of them said, I've already hunted that spot a bunch of times, plan on hunting it again. Glad you found it too and got a good buck there. And it's his way of telling you that that's his spot, that he's going to hunt there, kind of. But nobody had hunted. I had to cut a hole in the tree to hunt it. I had to take a limb off to hunt it. So nobody had been in that tree. And you could tell if somebody had hunted out of that tree. I mean, just to climb it. But anywho, the other guy said that he had already scouted that spot, was looking forward to hunting that spot, and didn't know that I was hunting there. And both of them, I don't argue with people like that. I already know that they're not being honest, so I just ignore them. So the one guy just kept sending me message after message, like trying to catch my attention, and I was ignoring them. And they got more and more bizarre, to the point where he went out and pulled all the grass out of the whole area where I shot the deer until he found the arrow, and put the arrow on my porch with a note. That was weird. That was very weird.
That's a little bit more than weird.
Yeah,
hey, there you go, Luke. That was on point.
But yeah, it was strange. And now you go out there, and when I do my workshop, I actually take people to the places where I've killed some of these bucks.
Right.
And that's one of the spots that I started going to now. And we go out there and you look at it, and the tree, it's amazing it's still alive. So many people have climbed it.
Yeah, you
that's crazy.
You took me to that spot.
Yeah, you've been there. Yeah.
Yeah, and
you can. Can you imagine? I only hunted that tree 3 times. The 3 times I just described here.
Right.
In a row the next year.
That tree isn't going to have bark for much longer.
Yeah.
And
that buck's dead. You know, and when you look at my biggest bucks, when they get to be 5 or older, I almost never hunt them out of one of those spots that I've hunted year after year. they're almost always a new spot because those really big bucks find some niche where people don't go.
Right.
And you've got to constantly be searching for that new niche, that new buck, in order to kill bucks like that.
Yeah.
You can kill a good 2 and 3 year olds out of the same trees, the same funnels, year after year. Those big ones, you almost got to hunt those as differently. You got to hunt them with that. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think there's something to be said too, right? About the fact that, okay, that buck's already dead. You
Right.
know, do you expect to have a buck of that caliber to be huntable in that same tree?
If it
I
got
think
hunted
there's a chance, right?
once or twice a year, there's a good chance one might show up again. But
Yeah.
usually, if you quit hunting it for a couple of years, that's when one comes in.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you keep hunting it, I think you kill the up and comers. So if
Yeah.
you're hunting it correctly, you're either kicking that deer out of there
Mhm.
because you're over hunting it, or if you're hunting it correctly, you kill that buck when he's like 3 or
Yeah.
4. If you're going to kill one that's 5, 6, 7 years old, that's in one of those niche spots like that, you almost got to like not have hunted it for a while. You know what I
Right.
mean? Or you have to find that spot fresh, which is why when I do my stats and I look at the percentages of kills and stuff like that, which I'm a big numbers guy, my 2 and 3 year olds and even some of my 4 year olds came from spots I've hunted, multiple times. Good spots that you hunt over and over again, or spots I've hunted in the past. But when you start getting over 5, the odds flip dramatically, or the stats to first sits. Very first time you sat there. And then if you go like second time sat and you include that, I mean, it's like 95% of the mature bucks that I've shot are from spots that I've never been before. But literally, you're usually hunting a spot where you've been before.
Which, I don't even think a lot of people can say that they've ever hunted a deer that was 5 or 7. I mean, legitimately, 5 or 7. That's.
I mean, it depends on the caliber of hunter. I mean, when I say, it just.
Right, but I'm just thinking of like your average Joe hunter. They're not hunting 7-year-old bucks.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So-
But your average hunter, you're probably
That's
right.
your average.
And I think my fan base probably ain't your average hunter.
Yeah, right. No, absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm part of your fan base, but okay.
You look at Rick Lobby, who we just had on. I mean, his deer being age. I mean, he's shooting deer like 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, that's just it's wild for someone like me to comprehend.
I guess I don't know if we ever got into that, Dan, in that last show that we did with Rick. Do they have the hunting pressure though that they don't have that? I mean, I know they don't have the hunting pressure that we have here.
Some of the bucks he was talking about weren't from there where he was.
Sure.
One of his old bucks was from Nebraska.
Right.
One of them was from Saskatchewan. One of them was from Iowa.
Well, again, though, but not heavily pressured deer, though.
Correct. But still, the age is impressive. Heavy pressure.
Sure. Yeah, there's no doubt about the age being impressive. I think by and far, guys, your average, as you're saying, are very, very happy with 2.5-year-old, 3.5-year-old bucks.
All day, every day.
115.
I think too, though, a lot of guys that get some decent bucks would be surprised at the ages. I think a lot of people think they're younger than they are in a lot of cases.
That's true.
And the reason I say that is because I had a friend named James on the website, my hunting forum, who kills a couple good bucks every year. He travels around a little bit, does a lot of hunting. He's a pretty experienced hunter. And he started sending in the teeth, which, when you look at a jaw, that's a guess. It's like looking at it's a little better than looking at the antlers and guessing,
Right.
So you can't really trust a jaw, looking at a jaw, but you can if you send a tooth in and they cut it in half. That's very accurate.
Okay.
And he would take a picture of the buck when he got it. He'd post it. and he'd say, "Guess the age," and he'd send a tooth in, and then he'd put a picture of the certificate when he got it back, and it was pretty shocking to see the size versus age, because most people would guess based on the rack or the body or something. And in a lot of cases, he was shooting 6 or 7 year old deer that I would have probably guessed at 2 or 3.
Okay.
And what? So he was getting. So you're saying the ages were, these bucks were
His
older.
accurate ages, some of his bucks, not all of them, but some of his bucks were of an age class that you wouldn't have guessed by the rack, like say a 110-inch rack. You would have thought it was a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
I think one of them might even had like a 100-inch rack, and it was like 7. You know,
Yeah.
some bucks just don't grow giant racks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's absolutely. No, I think that that's fair, in terms of that. But I mean, even I think what's more important is you're saying the jaw versus actually sending the tooth in, right?
Yeah.
So you should send the tooth in.
Yeah.
There's some bucks they can, if you're skilled at it. There's some like 2-year-olds they can tell for sure it's a 2-year-old. But
right.
after that, the teeth change, and then it's a matter of where.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, that's always what I've wondered too, is like when they want to do an assessment or based off of wear of teeth. Well, what is this deer browsing on or eating versus what this one?
Right.
I mean, I guess generally speaking, mass crop, acorns, what was the mass crop for over the last several years? Was there a lot of acorns? Right. Are they munching on that? Are they munching on corn? Are they in the beans? Is it woody browse? I mean, there's a lot of different variables. So I've always been very suspicious on just looking at the wear of teeth.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody's teeth are different too. I mean, look at it in human beings.
Oh yeah.
Deer, I don't think are exactly the same. So, but the fact that there's an analysis that they can do by dissecting the tooth itself.
It's like cutting a tree in half and counting the rings.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you're right, by counting the rings. Yeah, that's interesting. And something actually I kind of want to look into a little bit more, because sometimes I'm curious. I'm like, I killed a marginal 7-pointer years ago on that, but this buck was a tank of a body. I mean, he dressed well over 200 pounds. That one that Vinny helped me skin out in that, and just his rack wasn't impressive.
That guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, even that one too. But when he came out of that thicket, he looked like he was pulling a fucking trailer.
Right. Yeah.
I'm
exactly.
I had actually passed on bigger bucks rack wise that day or that weekend that I was hunting,
because of the mass
and he
of
came
the
out,
body,
and I'm like, oh my God,
I gotta take him.
I'm like, that's a big buck, but his rack was just nothing. I mean, it was that guy right there.
Same
one of these two right
that's
here.
Funny. So,
but just an absolute freaking tank of a body on him. I mean,
that was that guy.
Yeah.
What my
I mean, sometimes I think it's a regional thing too. I think,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
At the end of the day, again,
I'm happy with it. Doesn't matter, right?
Right.
That's what matters. You just gotta be happy with what you take.
Yeah. Right. Don't have regrets.
No, never.
Never regret what you shoot. If you decided to pull the trigger or release an arrow.
Right. No regrets. Not even one letter.
Not even one letter. Well, Dan, I'd love to say it was great having you on, but it was actually fabulous having you on.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
It's like I haven't talked to you in 48 hours or something. No, I'm for you guys that follow the page and that you're probably already following the Hunting Beast. If you're not, do it.
Please do.
I'm really having a good time with Dan. having a blast with this guy.
This little mini series that you guys are doing with the
It's not even a mini series anymore. It's
not
just
anymore.
like a full.
I mean, it's just kind of become the thing, but it's really neat. So
people are enjoying it.
5 best bucks or not. Maybe that's not the way of putting it. It's not necessarily your 5 best, but $5
Favorite
bucks, good
hunts.
Stories.
Right.
It's really quite intriguing, and if you haven't checked it out, you're really missing out. So get on over to the Hunting Beast, and
we've had so many great
oh my gosh
guests on this. I mean, from just this last show on Tuesday with Rick Labby, the Jared Scheffler, Aaron Warbritton,
Scheffler's was
Scott
fantastic.
Buckley.
I really enjoyed Sam
I'm
Hubels.
missing over Sam Hubels. Yeah, I mean it's been a lot of fun, and I don't think we might take a break maybe for a little bit and then re-up it again.
Absolutely.
And obviously we got to take a break to an extent with the shows because
this guy's like just hunting everywhere and doing everything.
50, 60 days.
It's like, I have a life too. No, that's not how this works, Dan.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about bear hunting when I get back from bear hunting.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Right on.
Yeah, he's gonna go slaughter a bear this next week, man.
We'll see about that. I'm gonna go.
Forget about it. It's done. Want to hear all about it, Dan?
Yeah, hopefully.
You know what I'd really like to see? I'd really like to see Eric get one.
Okay.
He's never shot a bear.
Sure.
So that's my goal, is see him shoot one.
Well, there we go.
And that's the thing about you, Dan, too, is I hear this more and more out of you all the time, is that you're getting more and more enjoyment out of other people's success around you. I mean, not just lately, but I mean, for some time now. And I think that's part of it, right? When you get to a certain age and when you amass this museum and a taxidermy shop or
what
whatever.
a lovely wall of death.
You talked about a lot of the bucks that in the pictures when we were talking that like my latest bucks, basically a lot of those were pretty recent,
right?
For the big ones.
Yeah.
But when I think about like the greatest hunt I was on recently, I think it was really when Eric shot his gun buck last year.
Okay.
He has been on a dry spell for a couple of years. And the guy's a great hunter. I mean, he really knows what he's doing. And he's just been having such a hard time. And he hunts as much as I do. And it's been driving him nuts. And you can just see it like taking the wind out of him. Mm-hmm. And it's like you have pep talks. It's like, you're hunting because it's fun, and it's like, yeah, but at some time it's got to pay off. And he goes, I just can't understand what's going on. We go to the same areas. I pick a tree, you pick a tree, the buck goes by you. And I'm like, yeah. Well, we went out there and he went to circle around and put some guys in position and just stepped on this thing and shot it. And thought he had missed. And it was like, but didn't go far. And it kind of laid back down. And then we did this drive. And he says, I think it's still there, Dan. And the guy that he put over in that corner said, yeah, I could hear it moving in there. So he says, I think it moved positions and stuff. I'm like, well, let's surround it and hunt it, So we surrounded and because it was his buck, he went in and he found it dead. His shot was true. So that guy probably heard it like kicking or something is what he heard. Yeah. And just to see the joy in him for getting that buck and stuff was, I've kind of lost a little of that. I've killed so many of them. It's not to say I'm not really happy when I get one of these things or I'm not proud.
Right.
But to see somebody else get that moment, that they've been striving for, that was, one of the best for me is to see that, to see the glow on his face and stuff. Just somebody that really deserves it, get it,
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, really. I mean, I feel like that's one of the things that you've always have stressed as well when it comes to our deer camp is you really make it about the person that got one.
Right.
Never mind your hunt. You had a successful hunt, didn't have one. Doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Somebody in our hunt, our group got one. Oh yeah, you're all about it. And that builds you up and that gives you that confidence. And it's just that positivity that's breeding more positivity, and it becomes something really enjoyable. So
this all goes back to like what Dan said what buck I shot last year, what buck he shot last year. All that doesn't matter, right?
Right.
But when it's about living in that moment
Yeah.
and being a part of something. And when somebody else is successful,
Celebrate it.
celebrate that. Like,
Absolutely.
there's absolutely no reason to ever be jealous of somebody else's success.
No.
And that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But live in that moment and be happy and for that success and the experience, the camaraderie and those kinds of things. That's one of the best things I enjoy about hunting with others. Obviously, hunting is a very individual thing.
Right.
But at the same time, if you're part of a camp or you're hunting with a buddy, just enjoy that. Life is way too short. Tomorrow's never promised.
Stay in the moment.
Right.
And
Be a
enjoy
part
that
of it,
moment.
exactly.
Absolutely.
And celebrate those successes for sure. So, Dan, we won't keep you any longer. I know you're probably on 5 hours now of podcasting tonight. And you got a bear hunt coming up next in that you're heading out for in just a few days here. So, appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir.
For those of you that are following the Hunty Beast, we don't have a show this coming Tuesday. But as soon as Dan gets his bear, or Eric gets his bear, we'll be doing another show talking about that. So,
thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. Genuinely appreciate you giving up your time for us.
Yeah, I want to see you guys do better. You guys are great people, and you got a great show, and you guys do a really good job of how you put it on. And it ain't fair. You guys need to grow bigger, faster.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
with your help.
That's what I want to see happen. That's why I'm helping you.
Right.
I appreciate you, sir.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Midwest Racks and Rods Outdoor Show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with an all-new episode.
You're not going to want to miss this one. And again, Briar's horses, right?
Right. Fire horses. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Until next time. Always
Always outdoors.